I'm excited just for the new rules that we instituted. No more collusive trades will happen. Here because we instituted new rules. I'm just super excited that everybody gets to start over and we can drop the old bullshit.
There's something not right with the pod this year. It doesn't feel right. It's too fucking nice. Why are they introducing themselves?
We're not going to get into all the minutia of, wins and losses, predicting who's going to beat who next week, looking at the records.
Oh, you mean the fun stuff that made it good? I think they trying to attract a wider audience. Champ's here to help. Should I work in advertising? Here's my commercial. You need fantasy advice? Listen to this here show. These hosts know what they're talking about. They're combined 2 and 4.
Instituted new rules.
Don't worry, fellas. Everybody loves an underdog. Don't mind old Champ. I'm just bitter. I miss my trophy. Not having it makes me sour. Well, we're through the first 2 weeks. Champ's on top, but what else is new? I don't even recognize some of these new team names. Extra super duper damn fun bitch. What the heck? Sounds like old Stewie Joplin's been doing that nose candy again. Anti-collusion squad. Boy, Mitty's all bought in on his public relations role this season, isn't he? And in an effort to combat the lack of trust of the founding fathers of this league, we shall hereby restore the faith in this league henceforth and forthwith. Trade collusion will be for the elites and the elites only, not for the peasants. God forbid we shall ever end up in Texas. Ever again. By the way, y'all see my mug? It says, "You may all go to hell. I will go to Texas." Davy Crockett said that. He's a good man. Let's see what else is new. Old Benny Bebop with the big nuts this week. That boy. I wonder if he'll do the thing where he go outside for the interview and act surprised that he won. I think if you're the host and you get the big nuts, then you gotta do the whole rest of the interview naked and the other 2 guys just fucking make dick jokes the whole time. I'm just trying to widen your audience. That's all from Champ this week. Y'all remember, keep winning. Remember the Alamo.
Yeah, trying to get this loot anyway. Hey yo, Queens get the money, long time no cash.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Ordinary Fantasy Pod. My name is Ben Conroy. I'm your host. With me, as always, Nathan Boudreau and my brother Matt Conroy. Guys, we are here. Week 2 is over, done, and I can't believe that the season is already flying by so fast. We're already at week 3. I'm so excited to be here talking football with you guys, brother. What did you talk, or what do you got this weekend for us? What's something you take away from this weekend that you want to talk about?
49ers are pretty damn good.
You're such a homer. You're going to open the show with the 49ers are so damn good?
When it's right, it's right.
No, I mean, he's on the right track. I'll tell you what, this has been such a fun season. And I know from an outsider's perspective, especially people playing in our main league, it probably looks like I'm having a miserable time because you guys see me losing these games and complaining on the podcast. But let me tell you, this has been a fun football season. The 49ers are kicking ass. I've been winning all my bets, making lots of money on all the different platforms, DraftKings and Underdog and others. And in almost every one of my fantasy leagues, I'm 2-0. I lost a few other leagues this week, but I'm having a lot of success this year, and it's been a lot of fun.
Well, like you said, this has been an exciting first 2 weeks, guys. A lot has happened over the last 2 weeks. Some major injuries have taken place, and we're going to get right into that right now in our injury news segment right here. First major injury that happened this week, guys, and it happened last night in the Monday night game. Nick Chubb, big injury. Nate, you want to talk about that one?
Yeah, this one hurts. As you know, I have Nick Chubb in Dynasty. I actually had many opportunities. I could have traded him away this year. I was a little bit nervous about trading him because I wasn't sure if Josh Jacobs was going to sign. Now, in retrospect, I really feel like I lost an opportunity there because I don't know if Nick Chubb's ever going to come back. I mean, we've got an aging running back. He's already 28 years old. This is now the second major knee injury that he's had on the same knee. We've seen this happen before, guys. There's a lot of guys that never return from injuries like this at that age. And so it's sad. He's one of my favorite players to watch. And so I'm really bummed out. It's really hurting Dre in our main league. I think I officially lost the mantle as the most injured team. Now Dre has lost Nick Chubb for the whole season, and it's really disappointing. Who do you think? Who do you think the biggest benefactor? Not that there was a benefactor, but obviously, Matt, you picked up Jerome Ford.
Yeah, I had Jerome Ford on my team over the weekend. I dropped Kareem Hunt for him. So it's kind of a double edged sword because Hunt is there now, currently in the building with them. And there's no reason they won't sign him as long as he'll agree to the right contract. And he'll immediately step in and get some touches, a lot of touches probably. So it's cool that I got Ford. I should probably try and trade him right now high because he'll never have more carries than he did this week or next week because after that he'll be splitting carries with Hunt. So double edged sword, but we'll see how it goes.
You think Hunt's going to be the guy to own there?
I think they'll both get 15 touches a game, 12 to 15,
and
therefore they'll. Okay.
I mean, I'm not trying to dissuade you from trading high on him me particularly, but I think I think Ford is the guy to own there. I think Hunt is just going to be a backup. He'll probably pick up a couple of receptions a game, but I really think Ford they're going to be committed to him this point forward.
I mean,
I hope so.
After the way he ran last night, I mean, it's hard to take those carries away from him. He looked really good last night. He found the end zone twice.
Yeah, I just heard earlier today that they brought in Hunt for a meeting today, but there's some dissension within the office about whether they want to sign him or not. There's a few people in the front office in Cleveland that thinks Kareem Hunt has lost a step or two. So I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that they sign him. I think they're going to just do their due diligence, and ultimately Ford is going to be the one to own there.
Yeah. Man, I feel bad. So. I feel bad for Nick Chubb, man. And coming off that he did come back. He did come back better than expected from the last big knee injury. I'm just saying that doesn't happen very often.
6 years younger.
He was a younger man. Yes.
No, I agree. Yeah. I agree. I'm just saying, somebody who they counted out before and came back and played better than ever. I don't discount a guy like that. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. All right.
So one more point on the Nick Chubb or on the Ford pickup that Matt brought up, that he dropped Hunt to pick up Ford. Yeah. I think that's an interesting aspect of fantasy football that I'd like to touch on a little bit here, because I actually dropped Ford a week ago to pick up Moss. Okay, so now in retrospect, I kind of wish I had Ford. He's younger. He's probably a better running back than Moss. But in the moment, I was thinking to myself, I need immediate points. I don't need a guy that might get an opportunity later on. I need immediate points. So I dropped Ford. That makes an opportunity for Matt. He drops Hunt. Justin picks up Hunt. It's a rotation that goes around, but each team has their own needs, which I find fascinating. And so I think it'll be interesting to see at the end of the year who it really benefits the most.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
One thing about this injury, and we'll talk about a few more big injuries too to this position, this is just destroying that running back contract market. We're going to go back into the season. Nobody's going to get re-signed. It's going to be the exact same thing. Nobody's going to get extensions. Everybody's going to get franchise tag. This week set those contract negotiations back for sure.
Yep.
It's interesting to think about. All right, Joe Burrow, Matt, calf injury.
Yeah, man. He needs to take a break anyways because he just sucks this year. So, man, he's playing terrible. That team looks terrible. I guess the calf was probably worse than we thought the last 2 weeks. I think it's probably what the issue is what we're going to find out. But he looks just as bad as he did when he first injured it, I think, from what I saw. Could this be a 6-week injury until he's back? Or is he just going to be Tom Brady and just statuesque in there and they're going to try and play through it? I don't know, but neither are going to be good.
Well, I think Joe Burrow is statuesque to begin with. He's never been much of a runner, but I think what's really hampering him right now is that he's not able to plant, right? So he's got that issue with the calf and he's not trusting his leg. And if you can't plant on that leg, that's going to affect your velocity. And so it's affecting them in more ways than one. Obviously, in week 1, T. Higgins had a horrible week. Jamar Chase really hasn't had a breakout week. And unfortunately, I know they're saying he might miss Monday Night Football. Unfortunately, I think he's going to keep on playing through it. Joe Burrow's, he's that type. He wants to keep on playing through it. It's nothing that's going to prevent him from playing in a game. And we, meaning people that own Bengals on their fantasy team, are going to have to suffer through it for the next several weeks, I'm afraid.
Yeah, one point. I know you said that he's like a statue, like Brady. Last year, 5 touchdowns, 257 yards. He's had 2 or 3 touchdowns every year on the ground. Those points matter. That's points. So yeah. I think that definitely affects him going forward. Slows him down.
Yeah, I always feel bad for the guys who drafted the receivers of these quarterbacks, expecting them to have big seasons, and then when the quarterback goes down, you're just like, well, Jamar Chase, just throw him in the bucket. T. Higgins, you know what I mean? Like,
Remind me who his backup is.
They it's funny because the backup they just announced who it is, and I had never heard of him before. I had some other guy on a couple of dynasty rosters, but they're saying Jake Browning will be the starter if he doesn't go, which is interesting. Let me ask you guys a
Nice.
question. If you had Burrow on your team and he's playing Monday night and they call him a game time decision, you have to play another quarterback, right? You can't risk that he's going to play.
Depends on your options.
That's
Depends
what I was
on
going to
your
ask you.
options.
Which options? If you, let's say,
How
if you
far
had
down the
Jimmy
list
G.
do we have to go?
Yeah,
Okay,
how far
let's
down the
see.
list do you go? If you had Jimmy G, would you go Jimmy G?
over Burrows? Yeah, right
Yeah.
now I would for sure. I mean, I think anybody right now you're going to play over Burrows. I mean, he's hurt.
Desmond Ritter?
I mean, look at he had a pretty decent. I mean, how many? I don't know how many fantasy points, but Drake London had a good. I mean, he threw a touchdown. Ritter.
Yeah.
Bryce Young?
Oh no,
No, Bryce.
I don't
no.
think so.
So if you only have Burrow and Bryce Young and you got to start one, and Burrow's a game time decision, you're still going to roll the dice on Burrow over playing Bryce Young?
I don't think you can. I don't think you can make that decision. Dude, when it comes
you
to
have to make the decision.
no, I mean, I don't think you can make the decision to start Burrows over an injured Burrows, potentially injured Burrows who might not start the game. You know what I mean? If he's a game time decision, you got to have somebody who's has the potential of scoring points. That's all I'm saying. You got to have that.
So what you're saying is Jake Browning should be a high commodity on the waiver wire this week.
I mean,
either as a Burrow owner or
I don't know
as
if he's a high commodity, but if you need a quarterback and he's available, if he's going to be the starting quarterback, I'd say go pick him up.
I mean, that's the play. That's a smart play. Get his backup, play whichever one plays Monday night. And just do that.
And if you
because the tools are amazing,
his weapons are there.
Yeah. And if you're the opponent of the guy playing against Burrow,
of course you pick him up.
You go pick him up
as a block, right?
Yeah, you play defense.
I love playing defense on the waiver wire.
You guys are sons of bitches for that reason. I hate that about you two. I always see Nathan's picking. Yeah. Go ahead.
If you do pick up Browning, at least carry him through the week. Don't pick him up and then drop him on Sunday so that he sits there on waivers. That's a dick move, right? We can all agree that that's a fucking bad karma waiting to happen.
I've seen somebody do that this year already. Like whatever day the waivers open, they drop they do 3 wide receivers.
You're famous for that, Nathan. You do that all the time.
No, but I'm not doing it to block. I'm picking him up because I'm thinking about playing
making really bad decisions that I have to fix really fast.
Part of me thinks on waiver nights, the waiver nights that because you're always the first one to pick up guys at the waiver time with the deadline. I'd sometimes think you pick guys up just for the shits and giggles of it, just to be like that linebacker you picked up who scored 20 points. I think you picked him up and then dropped him the next day on purpose.
No, I'll be honest with you. Here's what I do. Not just on waiver night, but anytime I get any kind of news, let's say there's a Twitter news that comes out that says so-and-so might be injured, right? I immediately go and pick up whoever I think is going to be the hot commodity, right? But then I after I pick him up, I do the research. I do my homework. Now, because he's already on my bench, it allows me time to go in and dig and do a deep dive. I'll watch YouTube videos on the guy. I'll read articles about him. And then eventually I'll come to the decision, this isn't somebody I want to start, and then I'll drop him. What I never do is pick somebody up just to block you and then waive him on Sunday because I know you can't pick him back up. To me, that's a dick move. I don't think I've ever done that.
All right. Okay. David Montgomery. Nathan, talk about him.
David Montgomery is going to be out for a few weeks. He's got a thigh bruise. And the news came out today. They're saying it's probably going to be a couple of weeks. The interesting thing to note here is they're saying it's not going to result in any increase in Jahmyr Gibbs' play. They're saying the running is still going to go to the other running backs they have. I believe they have
Craig Reynolds.
Yeah.
And I know they also got Zonovan Knight today. They activated him from the practice squad.
Knight.
And so they're planning on keeping Jahmyr Gibbs in that same role where he's going to get a couple of runs, he's going to get a couple of receptions, but they still want to have a two-headed monster back there. So I wouldn't expect any increase for Jahmyr Gibbs. And I don't believe David Montgomery was a starter in our league. I think he was on Ryan's bench. I don't know how many leagues across the nation he's actually starting in, but I would recommend go pick up Craig Reynolds if you lost him.
Yeah, that's the play for sure.
Yeah, I definitely think that's the play. All right, Odell Beckham. Matt, what do you know?
Was that the same ankle he injured last year? The year before? Wait, the year before? Or that was the same ankle he hurts every year, right? Okay. So, yeah, man, it's OBJ. I mean, he's hurt. Again, he's always hurt. He's looked okay, I guess, running down the field straight lines. But he's old, so he gets hurt. That's what
Well,
happens to him.
correct me if I'm wrong, but he was leading the team in receptions before he got injured on Sunday, right?
With 3 or 4, right?
I
I
think
don't
at
think it
least
was.
four. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I wasn't watching it on TV. We were tailgating, but yeah, I kept on seeing his name pop up. So it looked like he was really locked in on him, or Lamar was locked in on him. So it is unfortunate that he's injured. We'll see how soon he can come back.
All right, Kenny Gainwell. Did he lose his job? Matt, Nate.
I don't think he lost his job. Swift was freaking hot. He looked great. I mean, any smart coach is going to keep running that guy who just, and the coach made a decision. We're going to just put road graders out there and we're going to run. He made a statement. You saw immediate change when they made the decision in the game and everything changed. I think it was a hot hand. I don't know that he's lost his job. I think it's always going to be a committee there. The coach said it the week before. Sometimes Penny will get a look, sometimes Swift will get a look. Some games Swift will get lots of touches, some games he won't get touches. So I don't think anything changed, but man, that was fun to watch.
Yeah, I'm not 100% convinced that it was his job to lose. A lot of people are saying that the reason that Gainwell got all those carries in their first week was because they knew they had a game coming up on Thursday and they wanted to keep Swift fresh for that game. So anytime you have a quick turnaround like that, and you want, and by the way, it was against a tougher opponent on Thursday. You keep your number one guy fresh. That's one theory. I don't know that the coach has ever said anything like that, but they've got a smart coach there. He's going to rotate them as he sees that it's the best matchup for him. Swift did look really good, but I'll tell you what, I wasn't lying. When I put in the thread, I put that Boston Scott looked better than Swift because guess what? He did. When he was in, before he got the concussion, Boston Scott was dicing up that defense on the limited carries that he had. He looked better than Swift. Now, do I think he's going to be a starter at any point? Probably not. He's more of a Swiss Army knife for them, but they've got a lot of good running backs there. I'm not sure I would feel comfortable if any of them was my RB1.
Oh, I agree 100%.
Yeah, but dude, I'll tell you what, man. Like eye test. Swift looked really good, dude, in those carries. I didn't get to see Boston Scott run the ball before he got hurt, but what I saw of Swift, man, that kid looked good, man. He looked really good. All right, Saquon Barkley. Here's another one of those big injuries that we were talking about at the beginning. Matt, you want to talk about Barkley a little bit?
Yeah, high ankle sprain. I didn't actually see it when it happened. They are saying out a few weeks. I guess Breida is probably the pickup there, unless somebody already has him. Ben shaking his head like he might.
No. I'm just
Okay,
thinking
all right.
he's the guy. I mean, he's not. He probably won't be the bell cow or anything, but he's the first up option, I think, for them. So
Do we
definitely
think it matters who's up next?
I don't know. I mean, Breida had some productive years with the Niners, if you
Yeah.
recall.
Yeah.
And
That
a
was
lot of
last
people.
decade, right?
That wasn't a decade ago.
It was
No,
not.
I said last decade.
Okay,
Oh,
yeah,
like
yeah.
the teens. Yeah.
2019, 2020, yeah. I mean, he had some really good years in Kyle Shanahan's offense. He's never really shown much in the New York Giants offense.
Right.
So I don't know if he's worth picking up or not. But interesting to note, his first game as the starter will be against his former team on Thursday night. So
Yeah.
maybe there's some extra motivation there to come out and show it to his former team.
Yeah, that's the thing is he's playing against the Niners, so you got to take that for what it is as that just that alone, the fact that he's playing a top rated defense. But yeah, I mean he's definitely the guy to pick up. I think I've heard that from numerous sources this week already. So
How many picks do the Niners get this week?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Daniel Jones.
Yeah, because they're not going to be able to run, especially with the backup.
I don't know. I mean, that's what we said last week too, right? We were having that debate about whether to start Kyron in our high stakes league, and the eventual decision was we're not going to start him because of the Niners defense. And then look at him; he sliced us up. So I don't know that you can't run against the Niners defense. I think the Niners defense is great, but I wouldn't be afraid to play a running back against them after seeing what Kyron did.
See, I don't see it the same way. I mean, I watched the game. It looked exactly like what you said. My issue is that matchup between those coaches, between those two teams. Things happen, but in that game, they don't happen the rest of the season. They have unique games. They know each other so well. They scheme. And so just because he ran this week on us, I'm not saying we're not a good run defense. I want to see it again. And I think we're a lot better than they schemed against us this week.
It was also, he didn't just run the ball against us. He caught passes out of the backfield against us really well. And that's a tribute also to Matthew Stafford. You got to remember, I mean, Matthew Stafford's a really good quarterback. You know what I mean? Like when he's healthy, he's a fucking really good quarterback. So he also made our defense look silly at points. You know what I mean? Like, so, you know, it's not just Williams, although he did look really good. So I don't know. I'm not sure about our defense.
So of the guys that you can pick up this week, I mean, there's 3 names that we've talked about. Well, actually, we've talked about 2 of them. There's a third one here sitting here on top of waiver wire. In our main league, it's a 14-man league, so it's a little bit deeper.
Mm-hmm.
If you had to pick up a running back to start this week, do you pick up Matt Breida versus the Niners? Do you pick up Tony Jones, who's probably going to start for New Orleans because Jamal Williams got hurt? Or do you start Craig Reynolds as the starting running back in Detroit? If you had to pick one of those 3 guys.
Who are the Saints playing?
The Saints are playing against Green Bay.
At Green Bay.
At Green Bay?
San Fran. Detroit's the only home game out of those guys.
I like Tony Jr. Tony Jones.
Tony
Jr.
Jones.
I like him. I think he showed out this weekend. He had 2 practice squad in the game, 2 touchdowns. I mean, the kid looks good. You know what I mean? I think that's who I like we talked about before. I don't like Breida as much, especially against the Niners. And I don't know about I don't know enough about the other guy.
Yeah, I go with Craig Reynolds on this one. Home game is
part of
it.
Craig Reynolds.
And they're going to be fine. Yeah, running. Atlanta's going to play slow. Yeah, I don't know if I have great reasoning, but yeah, Reynolds is the guy I'd pick up.
Yeah, and I mean the other thing to factor in is that Tony Jones might be a 1-week wonder because Kamara's going to be due back next week.
Yeah,
right.
Not this
Matt
week
Breida,
though.
No, I'm saying he'll be a 1-week wonder.
Yeah, you said who'd you pick up this week? That's
right.
Yeah.
This week though, yeah. I mean, I think I'm still with Matt. I think I'd still pick up Craig Reynolds. I think he's going to get probably the best opportunity.
Yeah.
All right.
You know, the other guy who is much farther down the list, but if you miss out on those 3 guys, Travion Williams in Cincinnati with Joe Burrows going down, they're going to have to run more. He's definitely the second guy in line there. If you're desperate.
All right. Well, let's talk about the main trade that happened in our main league. Did that make sense?
Main trade in the main league.
The main trade, the only trade
now, I
should say, the trade that happened in our league this week. Nate, you traded Roschon.
Might happen.
Well, it's on the docket. It's on the docket, or whatever you want to call that.
I'm looking at sending out some counter offers, actually.
To who?
All right, so
maybe both. All right, let's tell them who's in the trade.
The trade is Roschon Johnson to Dre for Elijah Moore, and that's Nathan to Dre.
Yeah, I'll start with this. So, okay, Elijah Moore, great. I've wanted to get my hands on him all season. I should have tried to draft him. I didn't, but I haven't sent out offers, but I knew he was somebody I wanted if I could get him. So I really like what Dre's getting. Roschon Johnson. I don't know why, unless it's a running back for wide receiver thing, Roschon isn't getting the work that he got the first week. So I like the Moore side of it, but let's hear Nate tell us why he thinks Roschon's a good pickup.
The trade actually went the other way. I'm getting Elijah Moore. Dre's getting Roschon.
Sorry, I read it backwards.
It's okay.
Did I read it backwards? Oh, no, I read it right. You read it wrong. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I like the Moore side.
You like the Moore side?
Still like the Moore side.
Okay. Well, let me put it this way. If my team was fully healthy and stacked and I didn't have any immediate needs or any immediate holes to fill, I like Roschon. I like him rest of season. I really like his talent. I think Roschon is going to be somebody that by the end of the year, maybe a top 12 running back. And so it really hurt to let him go. But I have immediate holes to fill. And when I saw that Dre lost Nick Chubb, I thought to myself, okay, he doesn't have a capable RB2. He's going to be looking for one. I know Dre also is a big believer in Roschon's talent. He drafted him in Dynasty. So I went and looked at Dre's roster. I saw Elijah Moore sitting there just like you, Matt. I was targeting him in the draft. He was somebody that I was interested in. He's gotten off to a bit of a slow start, which is, I think, why Dre was able to pull the trigger. Fantasy points, 9 points week 1, 7 points week 2. Nothing fancy. But he's got an awesome schedule coming up. I think his next 5 games are all against very soft pass defenses. And so, hey, while Cooper Kupp's out, if I can plug Elijah Moore in and get some immediate productivity, will I end up regretting it later when Roshan, takes over that starting job and becomes the starter in Chicago? Probably. But for right now, I felt like it was a necessary hole to fill, and I was glad that Dre accepted it.
Nice. Now we just got to see if it makes it through the gauntlet. You know what I mean? How long's the wait? Is it 24 hours?
It's 24 hours. Yeah. So by the time this pod comes out, we will already know whether it was accepted or not, or with if somebody else put in a better counteroffer.
I like that I have a bunch of pieces that I could offer to Dre to mess up your trade. With Jerome Ford, with Khalil Herbert, I got all kinds of stuff. So let's see what we can do.
Yeah, you do. I actually thought about you right away when he accepted it. I thought if Matt throws out a Jerome Ford at him, is he going to accept that? Hey, if you do that, more power to you, brother. If I was Dre, I would probably accept that Jerome Ford for Elijah Moore instead of the Roshan one.
Oh, no, I don't know that I'd make that trade necessarily. I'll just see. We'll see.
Well, for it to counter my trade, it would have to be for Elijah Moore, right? If you send it to Dre. I mean, you could add.
Right. He could. Elijah Moore would have to be in the trade.
Yeah. You could add more pieces. Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about.
More pieces.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see if that gets through. We'll see. Good luck with that, Nathan and Dre. Okay, we're going to move on to our segment of the week we call Shoulda, Woulda, Coulda. This is a little throwback from last year, and I had one of those big time this week in a couple of my leagues that I'm sure these guys are going to love to talk to me about. We're going to start off the first one. Matt, you lost to Justin by 0.12 points. Nate, what could he have done differently this week to win that game?
You mean besides not pushing for fractional scoring?
Yeah, besides that.
I still am proud of this, guys. Still proud of it.
No, I mean, Matt had a couple of opportunities. And again, we're trying to focus on things that are justifiable, right? So Jerome Ford was his highest scoring player on his bench, but I know Matt would have never started Jerome Ford because he didn't know about Chubb's injury at the time. He did have two players on his bench, though, he could have started. Khalil Herbert only got him 6 points. And Khalil Herbert, if you watched week 1, you could see that he was sharing carries with Roshan. He looked a little bit slow. He looked a little bit timid. I think Matt might have thought better and started either Adam Thielen, who got 20, or Robert Woods, who got 13. Either one of those players in his flex would have given Matt an easy victory over Justin this week.
What's so funny about this is last week you busted my balls on this very podcast and actually laughed out loud because I played Adam Thielen over Herbert. So shut up. No way. You wouldn't have done it. You laughed at me last week. All right. So listen, Adam Thielen, I wanted to play, and I totally believe that he's going to be a guy who start the rest of the season. Last week he had the ankle injury. It affected him more than I thought. They came out. He was awesome this week. Most targeted player. They loved him. So I will be playing him going forward. It really was between Robert Woods and Zay Jones for me of who I was going to start. Zay Jones had a better week last week, and he actually got hurt this week, which is why he had 0 points. So I still think I made the right calls. I definitely could have gone Robert Woods. But yeah, no, that sucks.
Yeah. I mean, this is the closest victory. I mean, obviously we've never had fractional scoring before, so obviously it's the closest.
Yeah.
But 0.12. I don't know that we're ever going to see anything closer than that the rest of the year.
Oh, we will. Maybe not this year, but we will see by 1/100th or something.
I mean, if
happen.
There was right before the end of the game, it was a 0.2.
0.2.
Yeah, I was laughing to Debbie. I was like, Matt's gonna lose by 0.2 points, and he's the one who pushed. I mean, we were dying laughing. It was so funny.
Yeah.
But I don't know why you guys think it's a bad thing for me. Like fractional scoring is great.
No, I know it's not funny. It's just funny. I mean, come on. The guy who pushes for it is the first one to lose by 0.2. That's just funny, dude.
But also the guy who hated ties the most. So
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to admit, Matt, your record of 0-1-1 sounds a lot better than 0-2.
I get it. I get everything you guys are saying. 100%.
All right. Okay, Josh. He lost to me by 1 point. All right, Matt, talk to me about that.
Yeah, so the guy he could have and should have played was Nico Collins. I mean, 27 points over Jahan Dotson. Jahan Dotson got 5. I love Nico Collins. I tried to draft him. I have so many leagues out there. He's going to be a stud, or he's not a stud, but he's going to be a very solid player. But I like Jahan Dotson too. So I mean, I could see if he thought he needed upside, if he needed ceiling, Jahan Dotson, he can do 270-yard touchdowns in a game. That happened. He does that kind of stuff. So if he thought he needed upside instead of floor, he went with Jahan. I could see why he did it, but shouldn't have done it.
Yeah, I mean, Jahan Dotson, I like him a lot as well. But I think Jahan Dotson had a lot more hype in the preseason when Terry McLaurin was hurt. And I think Josh maybe still be thinking about that. Nico Collins was the easy play as far as I'm concerned. Jahan Dotson didn't even have that great of a week the week prior. I think he scored 9 points the week prior. He's in a crowded field there of talented receivers, whereas Nico Collins is the clear number one. I don't know why he's benching Nico Collins. What did he do last week? He got 14 weeks the week before. So both weeks, Nico Collins outscored Jahan Dotson pretty significantly.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, is that a Jamie move? Is that a Josh move? I don't know. But it definitely wasn't the right move. So maybe they'll do better next week.
Either way, I'm happy to pull out the win. And, man, I was sweating it. I was sweating it big time, especially with this fractional scoring, man. I was really sweating it.
Yes. A positive for fractional scoring.
I know. All right, Nate, you lost to Jeff by 13. Now you talk about it. You talk about what you could have done better.
Yeah, Josh Reynolds is what he could have done, who he could have played for 23 points over Kadarius Toney for 8. I love Kadarius Toney, got him all over the place. I get the hype of wanting to play him. And I think you can play him going forward. But yeah, Josh Reynolds, they like him on that team. Jared Goff. He came with him from LA, so he's played with him 4 or 5 years now or something. They got great chemistry. So yeah, Josh Reynolds is a startable asset and should have been started in that game.
What's funny is I had Josh Reynolds in my starting lineup all week, and the only reason I took him out was because Jeff scored all those points on Thursday night, and he jumped out to such a big lead with DeAndre Swift that I felt like I needed to go with ceiling over floor. I felt like Josh Reynolds had a nice safe floor, maybe 8-9 points, and I thought Kadarius Toney maybe have a higher ceiling. I knew that it was a risky play. It was obviously the wrong play, and I lost because of it. 2 weeks in a row, made the wrong decision at receiver and lost.
Are you going to play Toney going forward?
As a starter every week? No. I hope not, unless he starts doing better than 0 points and 8 points that he's done the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And if my trade goes through and I get, Elijah Moore, maybe he'll be my fourth wide receiver.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Refresh my memory. Didn't Toney have the case of the drops
week one?
He did. He had a case of the drops, but an interesting thing that I heard out of the Chiefs camp all week was that they believe in him. They still thought he was the wide receiver one. And in fact, Andy Reid's philosophy is if you have a player that's struggling, if he's in a little bit of a slump, you want to feed him early and often to get him out of that slump. And that's exactly what they did. Right at the beginning of the game, in the first quarter, he had 3 catches for 40 yards. So I thought, great, this is awesome. They're getting him out of the slump. He didn't do much after that, unfortunately. And Josh Reynolds had a huge day, 2 touchdowns, 23 points.
And Reynolds looked good the week prior too. I mean, he looks good in in that offense with Goff throwing in the ball, which is no surprise, like you said, Matt. He's got a lot of experience with that.
I'm starting to wonder real quick on Toney. I'm starting to wonder if when he's good, when they get him the ball in scripted situations, he does well, or he does okay. Sometimes he does great. It seems like he can't win just being a regular football player, just lining up, beating somebody off the line, getting open, getting separation. Doesn't seem like he can do that because he never catches balls like that. It's always in a scheme scenario. You guys think there's anything to that?
Well, I mean, he's definitely made his money on trick plays, gadget plays. He's got the speed to beat people on the corners. They can use him a lot of different ways, but no, he's not a traditional X receiver, and I don't know that he ever will be.
No. Yeah. All right, let's move it along to Steve, who lost to Bobby by 18. Nathan, talk about that one. What could he have done differently?
I looked at Steve's bench. He actually didn't have anybody on his bench that could have helped him. So that's, in this case, you have to look at, is there something else Steve could have done during the week? He does have 2 players on his bench that scored 0. He had Deontay Foreman and Eli Mitchell that both scored 0. So maybe Steve could have dropped one of those guys and picked somebody else up and started them in his starting lineup, especially Deontay Foreman. I understand Mitchell, he's a high-value handcuff. You don't want to let him go.
Yep.
But Foreman was a healthy scratch this week. The Bears didn't even start him, and I would think if I was Steve, I might have gone to the waiver wire. Now, our waiver wire is pretty thin, and there's an argument to be made that because we play in a 14-man league and we have such deep benches that maybe there's nothing on the waiver wire that would have helped him either.
Yeah.
But that's, in this particular case, I think Steve was going to lose to Bobby no matter what.
But didn't Bobby have the 3 highest scoring wide receivers in the league on his team this weekend? I
That
think
sounds
that's
about
true.
right.
Yeah, I think that's true. He had a
one.
weekend.
Keenan Allen 31, Mike Evans 30. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, he had some pretty big ones. Two of the biggest ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough to overcome. All right, let's move along to Joe, who lost to Dre by 19 points. Matt, talk about what he could have done differently.
Yeah, I mean, there are quite a bit of things he could have done differently. He started Richardson, which was the right call, because if he didn't get the concussion, he would have outscored Geno. It looks that way anyway, so he made the right call there. And then Michael Thomas had 12 over Dobbs for 5. I'm not a believer in Michael Thomas, even though I think I should be, because you're starting to see good production. I keep going back to, like, he feels like Jay Green, feels like DeAndre Hopkins, feels like guys who get hurt all the time. It feels like OBJ. I'm just worried that he's going to be hurt, and that's why I'm not behind him, not because he's not talented. But yeah, he could have got there. Nate, what do you see?
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually surprised to hear you say that about Michael Thomas. I think that's a thought you can have going into the draft, is I'm not going to draft Michael Thomas because of his injury history. But when he's healthy, he produces. And in fact, last year, even before he got hurt, I believe he was on Josh's team, he was averaging 15 points a week until he got hurt. And of course, as we know, a few years back, he was the number 1 wide receiver in all of football. So as long as he's healthy, he should be in your starting lineup as far as I'm concerned. I don't ever see how you can start Dobbs over Michael Thomas. And we did the math. If he would have started Geno, which I think is defensible because it's Richardson's second game as a rookie, if he would have started Geno and Michael Thomas, then he would have been pretty close. I think he would have been like 1 point or 2 points away from taking over Dre. And then he had Freiermuth, that was a pretty low scoring tight end. If he just went to the waiver wire, picked up another tight end, he probably could have beat Dre. I know it's a tough ask.
Nobody's going to not play Freiermuth over a waiver wire tight end.
I picked up Logan Thomas. Logan Thomas, is that his name?
Freiermuth and Logan Thomas are way different in their abilities at this point.
Yes, but there are players out there who are scoring.
I get Nate was just trying to make a way where he could have won. I get that for the segment, but there's no way you're not playing Freiermuth over a waiver wire.
Dawson Knox, I mean, to me, Dawson Knox and Freiermuth are the same guy. I mean, you can make a case for Dawson Knox over Freiermuth.
Then you'd probably stick with the guy you drafted because you believe in him more.
True.
Yeah.
And we know Joe likes Freiermuth. So yeah, you're right. Like I said, it was a big ask, but there is a way potentially he could have won. Unlike Steve, who had no chance.
No, good points. Good points. Yep.
All right. Adam lost to Alex, his rival, by 25.76 points this week. Who wants to talk about it? Matt, you want to talk about that one? Or no, Nathan, you talk about it.
Yeah, this one was close. 25.76 points. He could have started Daniel Jones over Trevor Lawrence, which I think is a reasonable ask. In most weeks, I'd probably start Lawrence, but Daniel Jones had a nice matchup. If he would have done that, he would have actually come within a fraction of a point. If you add it all up, he would have had an additional 25.5. So he still would have lost by 0.26. But keep in mind, he started 2 tight ends this week. So instead of starting Pitts, he could have just started Laporta in his tight end slot. And then he could have picked up off his bench Juju or Mingo, either one of those guys in the flex. He wins. So I think at this point, he really has to look himself in the mirror and ask, is Pitts my tight end? Or am I going to start Laporta from now on at tight end? Pitts goes to the bench. Start one of these other guys in my flex. I think he'll be in a better position to be successful.
100%. Laporta looks like the real deal. He looks good in both games. I don't see any reason why you wouldn't play him going forward over the other guy.
Pitts is playing in on a team that wants to run. So it's like, why would you even consider that? I don't think Pitts is the play.
Pitts is somebody you need to package up with another name and try and go trade him.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. All right, Sean lost this week against Ryan. This is the biggest gap, 49 points, guys. You guys want to talk about that? Matt, talk about that.
Just real quick. Nothing Sean could have done. There was nobody on his bench. There's nobody on waivers. Sean just got screwed. Justin Fields isn't the guy that he thought he was going to be, or I thought he was going to be. I wanted to draft him too. I mean, Fields is just big letdown this year, unless he's going to run for 600 yards a game or something. I think that's a bad pick this year. And sorry, Sean. It's
Hey,
just
by the way,
nothing you could.
while we're talking about Fields, a couple of weeks ago, I told you about a trade I did in the Dynasty League where I traded Fields
Yep.
and I got in return Kyler Murray and a first round pick. Are you having
Yep.
second thoughts? Was that a good trade, maybe?
Yeah.
Because they're talking about Fields. This might be his last year as a starter ever. They're saying,
Yeah, they're saying that.
You
It's like they coached the Fields out of Fields. They over tinkered with him. They messed with him. He's second guessing every throw. Like you can see guys wide open, and he has plenty of time. He's standing tall in the pocket, and he just holds it, and then scrambles out and takes a sack. It's not because they're covered. They're showing the coverage. People are open. He's scared to throw the ball.
Yeah,
Which,
somebody did
it
some
looks
analysis on his first 30 starts, and they said Justin Fields, his first 30 starts in the league. You know whose stats are far better than Justin Fields at this point?
Wait, starting this year?
No. First 30 starts in the league, who had way better stats than Justin Fields?
Tim Tebow.
No.
I'm just trying to throw
that would be great if it was, dude.
No, but this one's relevant because he played for the Bears. Mitchell Trubisky.
Oh, Trubisky.
Okay.
All
Mitchell,
right.
Mitchell Trubisky had better stats than Justin Fields, and they ran him out of town, right?
Yeah.
So guess what? Justin Fields, as a dynasty asset, he may be the most fragile dynasty asset out there. If you have Justin Fields on a dynasty team, now's the time. Go sell him on his name value alone because he might not be worth anything next year.
Yeah.
And crazy. It's crazy, Nate. You and I wanted to draft him so bad a couple of years ago to the Niners. We both wanted him so bad. So lucky we didn't get him.
2 weeks ago, we were talking about it. What if we would have just taken Fields over Lance?
Yeah.
Like, literally 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. And then Fields will break off 260-yard touchdowns next week and be the number one scorer, and we'll be like, well, I guess you can play him again.
Yeah.
He can run.
Yeah. Well, Sean, you could have done nothing. That's basically what we're trying to say. You could
actually did nothing.
This is a good segue to talk about the low score of the week, and we're going to talk about the high score and low score right here. So stay tuned for that. Okay, guys, we're going to talk about our high score of the week this week, which was this guy. I'm pretty excited about that. It was close though, man. It was so close. I haven't been sweating. I haven't sweated out a game like this in a long time, dude. And I honestly was very surprised that I ended up pulling it out. But I did. Big game.
Congratulations.
Thank you. You had an awesome week. I mean, that Cousins to Addison stack that you've been talking about showed up once again. 38.56 out of Cousins, 20 out of Addison, another 20 out of Devontae Adams, and then you even had a DB come out with 19 points. I mean, that's pretty solid.
Yeah, I was really happy with it. I'm telling you, this Jordan Addison pick, I don't know, 2 weeks in a row.
Touchdowns, least stickiest stat in fantasy. But yeah,
that's right. Sure. Yeah. So let me kind of talk about that. I mean, I'm not trying to put down Jordan Addison, but he's not getting very many snaps. He's not on the field a lot.
No.
When he is on the field, they're throwing him deep bombs, and he's caught them 2 weeks in a row. Now, is that sustainable? I mean, if he does continue to do what he's doing for the next 17 weeks, it would be one of the strangest things that has ever occurred in the history of football. It just doesn't happen where a guy doesn't play at all and then comes in and catches bombs every week. So Addison is going to increase his snap count. He's going to increase his target share. He's going to play more and more as the season progresses. So I don't think it's fair to compare him to some of these other guys that are just 1 week wonders. I think Addison will continue to be valuable. What I'm saying is up until this point, it's been, he's going to need to play more for it to be, a successful fantasy play.
3 receptions for 72 yards and a touchdown isn't something I can count on every week. I get that. I get that.
Congratulations. It's a well-deserved victory. And you know what was exciting about this one? It was not only that you won, but also that we had our first bad beat jackpot. This is something we voted on in the offseason. This is something that we were going to reward somebody with, hey, you came close, but you didn't win. And so we're going to give you a little bit of cash. It's a progressive jackpot. So you get $10 added to it every week. And we were hoping maybe the first time somebody hits it, they would get like $100, 120, maybe $200.
Yeah.
Poor Josh has to be the first person to win the bad beat jackpot in week 2, $20. Womp womp.
Yeah. And I thought for sure he was, I was sweating it all night last night that he was going to, come back with that one of his DBs or something was going to get a final catch or, interception or something.
I almost feel like we should bring Josh on. I mean, he was pretty close. Maybe we should have him on this high score segment to talk about his bad beat jackpot loss.
I definitely think we should, and let's do that right here. Let's get Josh on and have him talk about it.
Cool. Let's give him a call.
All right. All right, guys. It looks like Josh has joined us. We're going to effort to get him on the show right now to talk about this low. What's it called? Bad beat jackpot.
Bad beat jackpot.
The BBJ.
I honestly totally forgot about it. To be honest with you, like when you brought it up this week, Nathan, I was like, "What is the BBJ, BBJP, or whatever it was?" Where the hell is Josh? Josh, come on, man. Where you at?
Woohoo!
Get
Josh,
in
you
here.
there?
I'm
There he
here.
is.
What?
Oh!
That's not Josh.
More tech savvy.
That's not Josh.
Oh man,
But-
what a nice surprise!
This is
Maybe
maybe
you're
more.
here than Josh.
Maybe this is more fitting. Jamie's actually here than Josh.
Can't help.
Nice,
Hey,
nice.
Jamie, can you put the camera down a little bit so we can see your face?
Yay!
Perfect.
Oh,
Is that
no.
better?
Yeah, much better.
A
Okay.
little,
Well,
a little bit.
a little bit better.
Almost there. A little bit down more.
There we go.
Yeah,
It keeps going. Is your bang on a spring? It just keeps going back up.
No, I'm trying to hold because I was going to use something else, but it didn't quite work out.
Let me guess. Josh is your cameraman, isn't he?
Now he's not here. He's actually flying to Seattle right now, so he is
Oh, okay.
unavailable. So I said I'd step in and represent.
Great.
Hey, it is half your team.
I was
Or
going to
more.
say,
Or more.
or more.
So, Jamie, are you aware that you won the bad beat jackpot this week?
I am. He was he's not happy to have won it, but yeah, he's okay with it. You know, $20 is $20. So
Yeah. $20 is $20. So,
Yeah.
hey, go ahead, Matt.
I'd say Jamie or Nate, maybe you can answer this. When is the last time Josh made any money from this league? Yeah, Josh, you got there. Woohoo!
No, that's not true. Josh has been in the playoffs before. I'm pretty sure he's won his division, and he's had high weeks back when we used to pay to have the high week.
Okay.
And we used to give you $10 or whatever for having the high score. So he's won a few bucks here and there, but
pretty sure
You know
he's
what?
still negative.
I will say over the last several years, Josh's team has been one of the worst in the league. And this year we made a pretty big deal out of the fact that you were helping him draft. And so far this year, it seems to be working. He's, despite the fact that he lost to Ben by a fraction of a point, he's having his best year in a while. He won last week. He's, I think, number 4 in total points. So talk to us a little bit about the impact that you made on his team, Jamie.
I tried to make him not spend money on things he didn't need, but didn't always quite work. But we had a plan going in, and we knew what we wanted to kind of do, or what I wanted to do, and we kind of followed it, and it's worked out so far. Except for Rogers, but well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel bad. I feel bad about that one. I feel a little responsible for that. Josh was quickly sending me "F you, Ben's" texts as soon as he got hurt. Man, Jamie, all the draft prep that you did for Josh this year, are you excited about how the team's shaping up? And it's mostly your work.
Well, a little bit of my work, but yes, I am excited. I'm hoping he is not in the loser bowl this year, even though he does look fabulous in a dress. Yeah, I would prefer not to see him in one this year, and that's the goal. And we're trying to keep our points high in the lineman house, so we're doing pretty good.
Nice, very nice.
So Jamie, you're playing in the side league with us as well. And I love your team name, Steady Buddy. A little
Thank you.
reference to you helping Josh out in the main league. But you had a pretty good week last week. You moved up 5 spots in the power rankings. You're now number 5 overall, so you moved from 10th to 5th. You actually passed me in the rankings, and you're right behind Matt. So looks like you're on the right track in that league too.
Yeah, I hope so. That one's all me, so I get
Nice.
to claim all the glory or all the fault for that one. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with how that team shaped up. Although, I'll be fair, it was not a very good first week. But what can you do?
Just
No,
keep
you're on
trying, right? Just keep
You're on
trying.
the right track.
Yeah.
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 So,
Yeah, my
but
wife's currently in last place in that league, and she was telling me yesterday that she's thinking about quitting. So
no.
she says this isn't even fun. I don't want to play anymore.
Well, I feel her because I was really upset last week because I was like, I didn't think my team was that bad. And I think I got like 75 points. I'm pretty sure I had the lowest score last week.
Yeah.
So it was pretty not fun. So
So what
no,
I hear
it's
is
been another
what I'm hearing is we should be sending Porsche trade offers. Jamie, listen up. Go get some players.
week. Okay.
Well, Jamie, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you. Before we let you go, is there anything that is there any sort of rules or anything you're gonna be putting on Josh moving forward? As far as does he need to check in with you before he makes trades? Is he, is there anything like that going on, or is you gonna just let him give him full reins?
No. Oh no. We talk
Oh no.
Not
Oh
fair.
no.
we talk these through. That way we can honestly say it's both of us who mess this one up if it happens.
So I should be
Sounds
sending
like it's
trades.
official.
I should be sending trades directly to you.
No, it's a group effort.
Okay.
Because he does know more than me, but we like to discuss it.
Oh, that's
Is
awesome.
this officially a co-manager situation again?
No, it's just a 1-year thing. We'll see how it goes. How our relationship stays.
Don't let it affect your relationship. It's just
No,
fantasy.
football over family. We know that. Football over family.
It's a good couples activity, though.
Yeah.
All right, Jamie.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here. We love you, and see you on the gridiron, huh? I guess.
All right. Love you guys too. Talk
All
to
right,
you.
bye, Jamie.
Bye.
All right. Okay, guys, here we are with our low score of the week segment with our man Sean Bennett in the house. Sean, welcome in, sir. Sorry you're here so quickly into this season, but you're here. Talk about it, man.
I got a feeling this won't be my only time being here, to be honest with you. I was pretty close last week, too. So, yeah, feels good, though. Happy to be on the podcast, even though it's for low score and whatnot. But, yeah, good to be here. Talk
My
about
question
it.
for
My
you.
team sucks. That's what you want. I don't know. I don't know what you want me to elaborate on.
It's so funny, man. You had picked up Justin Kelly this week, or
Joshua Kelly.
Joshua
Kelly.
Kelly. Sorry, Joshua
I didn't pick
Kelly.
him up this week. I played him this week. I've had him since
Oh, you played him this
right
week.
after the draft. Yeah.
He only got you 3.9 points. I mean, were you a little disappointed in the production since last week he came in and really performed well when Eckler was hurt? And I mean, I know you put him in there hoping that you'd get that production. How do you feel about that?
So I just want to clarify. You're asking me if I'm disappointed in the production of a player I started in a fantasy league. No. Great question. Hard-hitting questions here on the ordinary.
Jesus Christ.
You got a feeling that
Proud.
Ben is only asking me that because I was trying to trade him to him because he's the Eckler owner? It's yeah, obviously disappointed in his production. I don't think I had that high of expectations, but if you look at that last spot on my roster, it's not there's not really much to fill in there anyways as far as my bench is concerned altogether. So yeah, obviously disappointed in it. But yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah. You're right. I that was kind of a targeted question, and I apologize. I should have worded it better to be more clever in my delivery. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I expected more out of him for you, and I was very surprised that he only got you the 3.9 points because they I wonder if they kind of decided to go away from that aspect of their game because you know what I mean. Like he performed so well for them last week. I was a little surprised.
It could also just be the matchup, right? So I think it was a horrible matchup to begin with. Like the Tennessee run defense is actually the good part of it.
Yeah.
Their pass defense is kind of shit. So you just go with where the strength is. But I don't even know what the outcome of that game was. So I can't really tell you like what went on and what didn't go on. Like I think as you know, Nate and I were at the game, and you were there for a while, Ben, till you left at halftime and whatnot. But so I wasn't not in that way. You were working, whatever I get. But I wasn't really paying attention to any of the afternoon games and what was going on. Did the Chargers lose? Did they win?
Chargers lost. Yeah, they lost by 3
yeah.
points. Yeah. And what's interesting is I wasn't even going to bring this up because I didn't notice it till just now. But looking at some of your most disappointing players this week, their names were Joshua, Joe, and Justin. Interesting. Justin Fields and Joe Mixon also had poor performances. Maybe what you should do is go out and try and fill the whole roster full of guys that have the first names of people in your fantasy league, and see if you can break the all-time lowest scoring record.
Guys, what the hell's going on? What the fuck what went on during Chuck today?
See, actually, Sean, I think that was a burn against me because I think I had the lowest fantasy score ever. So I think they were talking shit about me.
Yeah, go pick up Matt Hasselback, right?
Yeah.
Ben Skoranek.
You guys should just cut this segment, to be honest with you. I don't even...
No, hey, I got a real question for you though, Sean. So 2 weeks in, obviously there's holes that you need to fill, like you're saying. First year of a 14-man league, first year of having smaller benches. Do you think we got it right or wrong? Should we increase the benches? Are there enough players left to pick up from?
I don't think increasing the benches does anything. I think we should kick 2 people out. That's what...
you have any suggestions?
Well, I would say the worst teams, but that means I wouldn't be in the league next year. No, I think it's just a different strategy, right? So, but I don't think extending the benches is going to do anything. I think that there's not people. You look at the waiver wire; it kind of just sucks. So, it's just a different strategy. I just got to do some different things. Like, I'm not the person. Like, listen, I know I've had a bad year, but like, I don't usually end up on the bottom. I'll figure out some way, at least make my way to the middle by the end of this fucking thing. And really, what I want to focus on the most is I'm really only focused on any rivalry week now. I was kind of telling Nate this on Sunday, right? It would mean everything to me to be able to write a prepared statement for Bobby to have to read. That's really what I'm going to focus on, and then try to work my way towards actually winning some games. But
nice.
I did win week 1, so I'm really 1-1 right now. So I'm not, it's not the worst situation to be in.
Yeah, no need to jump off the boat already. And this was our low segment of the week. Low score segment of the week. This is the low segment of the week. That's what I was trying to name it. The low segment. This is a horrible segment. So,
thanks for being here, Sean. Thanks for taking your time to be with us.
So glad I figured out a way to be on. At least I showed up like somebody last week, huh? No, but anyways.
All right, man. Well, thanks for being here, man. And we appreciate you.
Good use of everyone's time. We appreciate it. Thanks.
Hey, you also had Ryan Tannehill on your team.
I do have Ryan Tannehill on my team. Oh, shit, oh, man. Oh, fucking hell. All right. Well, love you guys. See you guys. I'll talk to you.
Love you, bro.
Later, Sean.
Thanks, Sean. All right, guys, let's talk about the other leagues that we play in this year. We used to call this the Round the League Recap last year with Matt, and let's talk about it. Let's. What do you guys have for us this week on the recap?
Yeah, so in our Guillotine League, a little disappointing this week. I feel like we have to talk to you about it, Ben, because as a podcast, we scrounged together our money, our hard-earned money.
I know.
We nickel and dimed our way into buying you an entry into the Guillotine League.
I know.
And my friend, you did not set your lineup this week. You want to tell us what happened?
Yeah, Sunday morning came around and I was working, and I lost track of time, and that's basically it. And I just didn't set it. And honestly, it kills me because I have the players to win. You know what I mean? Like I this week, you guys are going to be so excited to go to that waiver wire because I have so many good players, and I just blew it. I just blew it. That's what it comes down to.
Is there any thought to because you just didn't set your lineup, maybe paying the league back?
Well, listen. Yeah. In my defense, I will say one thing. I tried to keep you guys involved in this. You offered to pay for it. I said we should do this as a podcast. We should, as a podcast.
And we said what?
You said no. I want you
to run your own team.
I want you to run your own team. And this is what happens when you leave it to me. That's all I'm saying. No, we'll talk off the pod about how I'm going to make it.
So not only the mistake there in that league, there was all kinds of people on your bench that you could have played that would have won.
Yeah, I had the players to win for sure.
You made the same mistake with the exact same guys in a different league, didn't you?
Yeah, I made the same mistake twice this weekend. Yeah, I could have
No, but
won. I could have been a 3-time winner this weekend. I would. It would easily could have won all 3 of my. Well, not win guillotine, obviously, but I could have survived. And if I would have just played the one player.
is it the
Who's
same
that?
mistake though? I mean, in the guillotine league, you didn't start Puka, which I get. He scored a ton of points, and you would have won if you started him. In Dynasty, it's not that you didn't start him; you benched him.
I know.
You started him week 1, and then week 2, you actually went and took Puka Nakua off of your team and put him on your bench.
I don't understand it, dude. I swear to God, like I have no memory of doing it, and I'm starting to think maybe the commission might have went in and I mean, we were playing each other this week. I honestly have no memory of benching Nakua, especially since I've been such an advocate for that guy. I don't understand it. I honestly don't.
Yeah,
Because yes, he was playing the 49ers. You got scared. Just admit it, dude. Come on, you're a homer like the rest of us. Just be honest.
I honestly,
I don't remember being scared. He's playing the best defense in the league. I don't remember being that scared. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I mean, I blew it. I mean, if I easily would have won Dynasty just by playing him. I mean, if I would have just had him in my lineup, I would have taken Nathan down. And God damn it, man, I'm so mad at myself.
Yeah, in our high stakes league, we actually started Puka in our flex.
Oh, you listened to me. Good.
Well, we actually drafted Puka, and this was even before.
Unlike you,
this is before you made the prediction on the podcast that he's going to be good. If you go back to the first episode where you say you like Puka, you can hear me say right after you, I like him too. And then we had our draft in the high stakes league, and we drafted Puka Nakua, and he was awesome for us. This guy is great, right?
Yeah.
I would have drafted him if he was available. He was not available. Bobby had him as a keeper or whatever.
I mean, you could have drafted him, right?
No, I wanted to draft him, but Bobby had him already.
Oh, he picked before you in the draft?
He wasn't available in the draft.
Well, Bobby took him in the 3rd round of our rookie draft. So what Matt's
That's my
saying
point.
is
You could have drafted him as a rookie.
Oh,
no,
I didn't have a top draft pick. I was farther down, if I remember correctly.
Nate just said he was picked in the 3rd round of that draft. You had picks in the 1st and 2nd round. You passed him up twice.
Oh, no. Are you sure?
Yeah, but go ahead. Champion this guy, brother. Champion him. Go get him.
Hey, let's be honest, though. I have been more vocal about him than anybody else. You said Tutu Atwell was the guy. I said no, Puka Nakua is the guy, and I still didn't start him. So what the fuck?
Yeah.
I do want to give all of our leagues credit, though, because I listen to a lot of podcasts. I listen to Fantasy Sports Radio, and all people keep talking about these last 2 weeks is how Puka Nakua is the waiver wire ad that's going to win you your league. And everybody's talking about how they picked him up on the waiver wire.
Yep.
In all of the leagues that I play in with you guys, he was not on the waiver wire in any of our leagues. He was drafted in all of our leagues. He was drafted in our, obviously he's in our dynasty league. He was drafted in our main league. We drafted him in the high stakes league. So I mean, that just goes to show you how savvy the folks in our league are. And I do want to correct one thing. And I sent you guys a text on this, I think this morning. On last week's pod, we talked about how Puka plays the same role as Cooper Kupp, and how when Cooper Kupp comes back, maybe Puka Nakua, Puka Nakua, how his stats might go down. But interesting note here is that Puka's not playing the Kupp role. He's only playing 29% in the slot, whereas last year Kupp played 56% in the slot. Puka played 70% out wide in the first 2 games. You know what role he's playing in right now? He's playing in the Robert Woods role.
Yeah, he is. Yep.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting. I did not know that till you shared that. I saw it differently the week before with my eyeballs. Not that I read the stats, but that was a great share. Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard something. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say when Kupp comes back, there's a very high likelihood that Matt Stafford's gonna deploy them both in that Kupp and Woods role, and he'll continue to eat all season long.
Yep.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think Van Jefferson is gonna be the 3rd option when Kupp comes back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's the downfield guy. We've always known that, though.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, but everybody thought he might be the guy who soaks up those passes, at the beginning of the season. But Nakua has obviously shown that he's the guy. And Tutu Atwell's been playing really well as well. You know what I mean? He's had his fair share of targets and catches. The thing that I wanted to bring up about Nakua is, although he is catching a lot of balls and everything, right? He's getting a ton of targets and everything. The difference between him and Kupp is Cooper Kupp would most of these times, like he would catch the ball, and what he would do after the catch is what is so impressive about Cooper Kupp, right? Puka Nacua is definitely showing the fact that he can step up and be a target and be a solid catcher. But I'd like to see what if he can change that part of his game.
Yeah, I mean, we were at the game on Sunday, and it's amazing how this guy becomes open. I mean, he's got that shiftiness about him. He always finds the window. He's always open. But you're right.
Yeah.
As soon as he catches it, bam, he's down. No yards after the catch at all. He obviously hasn't caught any touchdowns this year, so that may end up hindering him moving forward. But as long as he's getting targeted, 15 times week 1, got targeted 20 times in week 2. That's a massive target share.
I guess that does remind me a lot. His style of play does remind me a lot of Robert Woods in that sense, right? Robert Woods was never a huge yard after the catch guy either.
Get to an open spot, turn around and catch it.
Yeah. So yeah, I think you're right. I think that does he does fill that role nicely.
You guys both were at the game, so you didn't. I don't know if Ben got to catch the end of it at home on TV or not. Puka was exhausted at the end of the game.
Oh yeah,
he looked so worn out and so tired. It was like, please take this kid out, man. You're gonna break him, dude. But yeah, he's great.
That's something that. Oh, sorry. I was gonna say that's something I was worried about in the fact that they so much usage. I mean, is he gonna because he already came up, kind of banged up. Was it last week?
Injury after week 1?
Yeah.
Injury. I'll tell you, the fans in LA love him.
Sure.
And every time he caught a ball, they would show his little pre-recorded video up on the screen and does like this little like Hawaii thing, and he gives a little like smile, and the girls were swooning over him. And this guy, he's a star in LA already. People love Puka Nacua.
That's cool.
I wanted to ask you guys, of Ben's players that are hitting the waivers in the Guillotine League, we got some big names here. We got Herbert, Mostert, Eckler, who might still be out for another week or two. Madison, who we know has had his troubles, Addison, who's been awesome, and then Puka Nacua. Do you think with Eckler's injury and with the way that Puka has been showing out the last 2 weeks, who do you think goes for more fab on the Guillotine waivers this week?
Our league's too smart for that. They won't do it. They will not do Puka first. Our league will do Eckler first for the most money, followed by Addison, Puka, Herbert, Madison.
How much do you think Eckler goes for?
What's the
350 last week for who?
No, the biggest one last week was 537, I believe. If memory
serves correctly. Is it $1,000?
Yeah, $1,000 fab. It was definitely over $500 last week. That was for DK Metcalf, and then it was like 350 for
CeeDee Lamb. Got beat on.
Yeah, I got beat on that. So
I would say Eckler over 300. Addison over 200. Puka probably in between the two. Probably somewhere in there.
The interesting thing is, if somebody goes out and spends $300-400 to get Eckler, that means they're probably not going to be able to afford to get anybody else. And if they need a running back, they spend all this money on Eckler, and then Eckler doesn't play again this week. We could see Eckler back on waivers again next week.
Oh, is he the Jonathan Taylor of last year? Or this year's Jonathan Taylor?
Well, he could be. He's still hurt. He's still hurt.
Yeah, I mean, yes.
Dude, they're not even saying when he's going to be back. They're saying no timetable as of today. Not week to week, not day to day, no timetable.
Yeah,
so I'm real interested to see what this is.
Yeah, I can't spend $400 on a guy with no timetable.
Right.
I know, Ben, you don't have to make that decision.
I don't have to make that decision, but do you think would you take Puka over him right now then, Nate?
No. If I put in my bids, Puka's going to be in there and Eckler's going to be in there. But whereas if Eckler was completely healthy, he's an easy $600 guy.
Yeah.
I can't see myself spending more than $300 on Eckler. It would just be too difficult when I don't know when he's coming back. It could be another 3-4 weeks. I could be out by then. So, I may actually try and do smaller bids on more guys as opposed to doing a lot of money on Eckler.
I think Puka goes number one for that reason. What you guys are talking about.
It would have to be one of Jeff's friends, but yeah, maybe. Just teasing. I'll see if they're watching.
Yeah. We'll see. All right, guys. Well, that was our Around the League recap. There you go. That was a little shout out for last year.
Love it.
Yeah. Let's move it on to our rivalry week, guys. And this is going to be a real short segment because, Alex, you are going to prepare something for Adam this week. We don't have it as of right now, but Adam and Alex, you have time. So get it to us as soon as possible, and we'll share it on the pod whenever we get it. And then we have a new rival coming up soon. When's the next rivalry coming up, Nate?
Week 6. So there's no rivalry game this week. The next one is week 6. That'll be Steve versus Joe. And then we have another quick one that turns around week 7 and week 8. So, Alex and Adam, hopefully they can get their written statement to us before then because we have 3 back-to-back coming up.
Yeah, that'd be great. I can't wait to see those. Ours, the first one was so much fun. You know what I mean? I'll just put it to you that way. We had a good time with it. Let's move it on to our bold prediction of the week, which we're not calling that anymore. We're calling it now. It probably won't happen, but it would be pretty fucking cool if it did.
Yes.
That's a great name.
Yeah.
Great name. It lets you know exactly what it is.
It's a little wordy, but I like it.
Yeah.
This week's game, guys, is Thursday night. It's the Giants at 49ers. We're going to make some predictions right now. Nathan, you lead it off since last time I went first and I stole yours. And, I don't want that to happen again. So go for it.
Okay, so it probably won't happen, but it'd be pretty fucking cool if it did. I saw a interview a couple of days ago. They were interviewing Deebo Samuel about, and it was actually leading up to the Rams game. So they were talking about last year in LA when CMC had the trifecta. He threw a touchdown, he caught a touchdown, and he ran for a touchdown. And they were asking Deebo about it. And Deebo actually said something that I found interesting. He said, "That was awesome." He says, I feel like I could do that one day. He didn't predict it, but he says that he thinks he could do that one day. So it probably won't happen, but it would be pretty fucking cool if it did. I would love to see Deebo Samuel on Thursday night against the Giants. They are wearing some throwback uniforms this week. It'll be nice if he throws one, catches one, and runs one in.
That's pretty sweet.
We're too similar, Nate. Too fucking similar sometimes when it comes to this stuff. Mine was going to be a non-quarterback for the 49ers throws a touchdown. I wasn't going to be as specific as yours, but I was going off the CMC game with the Rams last year too. That's exactly where my brain was at when that happened.
So is that what you're going with?
No, because you just did that.
Okay.
Well, my prediction is that 4 different skill position players on the 49ers will score touchdowns, but nobody will get 2.
Okay. So that's right. A Kittle, an Ayuk, a Deebo, and a CMC will all score touchdowns?
Yep.
Sounds great. That'd be pretty fucking cool if it happened.
That would be pretty fucking cool if it happened. Oh, I was supposed to say that. Damn it. We'll get better at this.
All right, guys. For my, it probably won't happen, but it would be pretty fucking cool if it did. I'm going to go with Ray McLeod is going to kick, he's going to run back a punt. He's gonna kick a field goal. He's gonna run back a punt, and he's gonna catch a.
That would be pretty fucking cool if it did.
He's gonna kick a field goal.
He's gonna kick a field goal. He's gonna return a punt and kickoff back for a touchdown in this game.
All right.
That'd be pretty fucking cool.
He might kick one too. You never know.
If all of these come true, that'd be a great game.
We sound like such homers. None of us picked anything for the Giants.
Have you watched the Giants play this year? Jesus Christ. There's not much to pick for them.
That's so
good. That was a nice comeback last week against Arizona.
Yeah, for sure. All right, guys. Well, that was, it probably won't happen, but it'd be pretty fucking cool if it did. All right. All right, let's move it on to last week's question of the week, guys. Which player have you changed your opinion on most since the draft? And we really only had one video submission this week, if I remember correctly, and we'll show it to you right here.
The player I've changed my mind on since the draft is Mike Evans. I drafted him in so many leagues this year. I think I was just doing it on name recognition. So I started sending him in trades to everybody. And then these first 2 weeks of the season, he's just blown up. So I think that was a good one to take or not to take.
All right. Well, thanks, Bobby. Appreciate you for submitting that video. And no surprise, he picked his own player, Mike Evans. Let's try and get these video submissions in, guys. We really appreciate everybody to participate this season. So get those in as quickly as possible. And we're going to talk about our answers right now. So Nate, you want to go, or Matt, whoever wants to go first? Who is the guy that you've changed your opinion on since the draft?
I'll jump in, and we've already kind of talked about him, so I'll just refresh. I mean, Justin Fields, it's a guy that I wanted to draft. I was really bummed that Sean got him before I did. Didn't have the money left in the draft. I thought Fields was going to come out and take that step forward with DJ Moore. Be a top 15 quarterback. Nothing special, but have the boom weeks. And it doesn't even look like he might not even play the whole season. He looks terrible, but we'll see. He could turn around. That's my guy.
Yeah, the guy that I'm going to go with, we could name out a bunch of guys that are surprising, like Puka Nakua or Kyron Williams, and people that have taken starting jobs that we didn't expect. But I want to focus on a guy that I actually was down on. He was a guy that I owned last year, and coming into the draft, he was on my don't draft list because I did not believe in Brian Robinson. I don't believe in his talent level. I don't believe in his rushing abilities. I think he's a little bit slow and lumbering, but he's been quite surprising. I mean, he's not putting up huge stats, but 13 points in week 1. And then he was the highest scoring running back in week 2 with 28.9 points. He's obviously got the trust of his coaching staff. And it'll be interesting to see if Brian Robinson Jr. will continue to be a fantasy star for the rest of the season. So I think at this point, I'm starting to reconsider whether I was wrong about him.
Yeah. I should have started him this week on my fantasy team, and I would have also won. Either one of him or Nakua would have done it for me. But yeah, so that is a bit surprising that he's had such a good start, and let's hope it keeps going. For me, my choice is Josh Jacobs. I was really hoping after last year about how he performed so well, and he was like the number 1 running back last year, and then he did the whole holdout thing, which I was kind of stressed out about it during since I drafted and everything, but I really had faith that he was going to come back, and I really thought he was going to continue to roll the way that he did last year, and he's just been pretty much average this year. He hasn't really done very much of anything. So, I mean, what is his game log? He had fantasy points 9 and 10. I mean, that's not bad. I mean, it's not great, though. I mean, after last year, what you expected from him was to come out this year and just light it up again. And he's only, he's just being average. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I was expecting more from him.
I think a lot of that has to tell you about how guys condition themselves in the offseason. You got a guy like Bosa who comes in, didn't practice at all, wasn't with the team at all, but he's well known to be one of the most conditioned athletes in the league. And, he was taking good care of himself. Who knows what Josh Jacobs was up to, but, not being with the team, not being forced to work out, having no time in the game room, looking at film and studying how to attack these teams. I think it's showing in the early going.
Yep.
Yeah, he had 19 attempts for 48 yards game 1, and he had 9 attempts for -2 yards in game 2. So those are the stats that I was really concerned about, or not. I was not concerned about him in the sense that I thought his running attempts would be up higher. His run yards after catch with his passes would be up higher. So I don't know. I was just I'm a little disappointed.
Well, you went from a Derek Carr who throws a really good long ball to Jimmy G who throws really good at the line of scrimmage, and all the defenders are now crunched up against the line of scrimmage. So he's facing more 8-man boxes. But even when they're not 8-man boxes, it's just everybody's playing closer to the line of scrimmage because Jimmy doesn't have that big deep arm.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, Ben, because for perspective, where did you rank him? Did you think he was a top 5, top 10 running back when you going into the season? Because I didn't have him that high because of Jimmy.
We'll see. I guess that was my fault. I did not consider the quarterback situation when drafting him. I honestly did. I considered him still to be one of the top 5 running backs this season. Right. And but yeah, I mean, and he might still turn out to be that guy. I mean, like Nathan said, he might be still getting into shape for the start of the season. So maybe halfway through the season, we're going to turn around and be like, wow, Josh Jacobs is fucking the man again. You know what I mean? So I don't know. We'll see.
It's a possibility for sure.
Well, a lot of people credited his breakout last year with him being motivated by the contract year. And he only got a 1-year deal, so he should be motivated again. So I would expect that at some point he will step up. And I need him to, because now that I lost Chubb in Dynasty, I'll be forced to. I mean, can you believe it? I had Jacobs on my bench the first 2 weeks. That's how good my team is.
that is crazy. That is crazy. Yeah. Oh, man. All right. Well, guys, we're going to give you our question of the week for next week. For this week, I should say, whatever. Of the 4 undefeated teams, Alex, Dre, Ben, and Ryan, which one is fool's gold? This is a little tie back to last week's game we played. And of the 4 winless teams, Joe, Steve, Nate, and Matt, which one is a diamond in the rough? So that's actually really good questions this week, Nate. I think we're gonna get
Actually, good questions, Nate. Better than the last 2 weeks you tried.
Well, no, that's not true. This past week was a horrible question, and I knew that. We didn't get any responses because it's not exciting. Nobody wants to talk about their opinion has changed about. But I figured I'll give you guys an opportunity to talk a little bit of shitty about each other. Maybe that'll solicit a few extra responses from you guys. I'm looking forward to hearing some of the trash talk.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be good.
What's happening, degenerates? It's your boy StevBot 90,050,822 with another DraftKings early lineup review for you on Wednesday, September 20th, 2023. Let's get right to it. DraftKings this year has a brand new format called a Superflex. Super sexy flexy. You guys know you love the Superflex. I love the Superflex. Nate loves the Superflex. Let's get down to Superflex. I got 2 quarterbacks for you. That's what Superflex means. 2 quarterbacks, 1 lineup. We going to start with, on the lineup you see on the screen, Jordan Love. I love me some Jordan Love. They're playing New Orleans, which has a tough defense, but guess what? That just means it's going to be low owned and at a low cost. I'm taking the chance. I want some Jordan Love, and I'm going to pair him with his receiver, Jaden Reed. I love that kid. I think he's filling in nicely for Christian Watson, who we have no idea when he's going to get back, but let's just make it work. In addition to that, the second quarterback you know is my favorite homie. It's Al Boogie's homie. It's everybody's favorite, Patrick Mahomes. Right, we're going to pair him with Travis Kelce. Do I need to say any more? They're good for at least 20 to 30 points each week. Hopefully that's going to be the case because last week it wasn't so good, at least for Kelce, but it doesn't matter. Then we're going to go down the list. We got some running back value. Raheem Mostert, Brian Robinson Jr. I love both of them because Denver's defense ain't so hot. So that's what Mostert's got. He's going to find the most dirt this week. Haha, I had to do that. Whatever. Then Brian Robinson, he is just going to be a volume machine. Period. This week, Buffalo, they might be playing from behind. Doesn't matter. He's going to catch passes out of the backfield. I love it. Then we're going to go some more value. Tank Dell. You saw what Houston did last week. Holy crap, they're out there, the passing machine, which sucks for my fantasy league with Damian Pierce, but who cares? Whatever. Then we're going to round it off with super stud Stephon Diggs to complement the Brian Robinson role. We're going to go back and forth in that game. Hopefully it works out. All right, let's win some money, guys. Take care, degenerates. We'll see you next week.
All right, guys, we're going to move on to our final segment of the day. We're just going to basically run through our top starts of the week projected for the different positions: quarterback, wide receiver, running back, tight end. Those are the 4 we're going to give you. I'm going to give you the top 3 guys that are projected, and you guys are going to tell me if there's somebody else you guys would squeeze into that top 3. Okay,
great.
So starting off with quarterbacks this week, we got Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, and Jalen Hurts. You guys got anybody that you guys could see fitting in there?
I think Justin Herbert should be in there. In fact, I think Justin Herbert might be the highest scoring quarterback of the week. They're going to be in a shootout with Minnesota. Minnesota's got a horrible pass defense. It's going to be back and forth. I could see Justin Herbert or even Kirk Cousins being the highest scoring quarterback this week.
I was leaning towards Dak Prescott playing against Arizona. Budda Baker went on IR. I think that team needs to get hot with their receivers. They've won games, but I think this one could be a big one for Dak.
Okay, so now we got to talk about running backs here, guys. Our our top 3 running backs this week projected are CMC, Eckler, and Pollard. And it's strange that Eckler's up there with that injury, but you guys got somebody. This one might be a little easier. You got somebody who can jump in, take that top 3 slot.
Yeah, you know what? I am going to lean towards Ramondre Stevenson. I know he's going against the Jets, and that's a tough defense. I just think when those 2 teams go against each other, it becomes a slugfest, and there's running all the time. So I think on volume alone, he might be able to get up there.
Yeah, I'm going to go with somebody we just talked about a minute ago. I think the breakout is coming. I think Josh Jacobs playing against Pittsburgh's defense that's been susceptible to the run. I think Josh Jacobs will have his breakout week, and he will be the number 1 running back this week.
Yeah, I would love to see that. Let's hope that happens. All right, guys, let's do our wide receivers. Top 3 projected this week: Justin Jefferson, Hill, and Adams, Devontae Adams. What do you got?
This week, I'm going to go with somebody that I projected in the "it would be pretty fucking cool if it happened" segment. I think Deebo Samuel is going to have a big week. Ayuk is a little bit banged up. There's a question mark of whether he's even going to play this week, and if he does play, he might be limited. I'm going to give Deebo Samuel the leg up as the number one receiver this week.
Yeah, and I'm going to stick with my stack with Dallas and say for Dak to have that week, CD's going to have that week, and I'm going to say CeeDee Lamb, big week in Arizona.
All right. Let's move it on to tight ends, guys. We're going to wrap it up here with tight ends. Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews, and TJ Hawkinson. Is there anybody else you guys see squeezing in there?
I think that Freiermuth on Sunday night is going to have a big game against Vegas. I see it coming. He hasn't had one yet. He does every couple of weeks, every season he's played. This is a week.
Yeah, and it pains me to say it because he's playing against my 49ers, but I, at the beginning of the season, projected him to be the number one tight end. He hasn't had a true breakout yet. I think Darren Waller is due. I think that if Daniel Jones is going to have any success against our pass rush, he's going to have to get the ball out quick. He's going to be relying on Darren Waller in the slot, and he'll be feeding him a ton.
All right. Well, dude, hopefully that helped you out, guys, because that was one of my favorite segments we've done today. And I hope you guys really, really paid attention because these guys just gave you some gold right now, some gold. So stay tuned. Every week, we're going to try and end our podcast with just giving you guys the gold. So hang out there and be ready for it. Guys, that was it. We wrapped it up. This week's over. Week 3 is coming. You guys got anything else you want to say before we wrap this thing up?
No, I'll be back home. So if anybody wants to come join me, Ben, in the football room, I'll have all the TVs going. We'll be firing it up. If the Niners, the Niners are playing on Thursday, but we could still do a celebration dip in the pool. It should be nice and warm this weekend.
Yes.
Come on by. We're looking forward to having all the guests.
Nice. Just looking forward to a great week of football.
All right. Final thoughts. That's it, guys. We're going to wrap it up. Dude, this is a wrap for the Ordinary Fantasy Pod.